What do cigarette smoke, car exhaust, and your frying pan, what do they have in common? They all produce carcinogenic compounds that damage your DNA. Except with cooking oils, you're actually eating them, not just breathing them in. Most people don't realize it, but when you cook with unstable oils, you are creating toxins that get stored in your liver, they get stored in your fat, even in your brain. And if you eat out, it's 10 times worse. I will explain. In this video, I will break down the real science behind these oils, why they're so damaging, and then what you should be using to break this habit instead. So let's take a look at what these oils actually do to the body. What happens when you eat food that's been cooked in cheap, unstable oils? Whether at home or at a restaurant, once these oils hit high heat, they begin to denature and break down. Some of them become mutagenic. They start to mutate, transform, which means, what is it doing to your body? They release toxic compounds that then enter the body. And oils like canola and soybean, I'm going to show you the whole list in just a moment. They release aldehydes. And these aldehydes are toxic to your DNA, specifically PAH. We're going to talk about these today. It's called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. These are known carcinogens. They are found in cigarette smoke, car exhaust, and oils. Here's a quick search to understand some of the research with it. Polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, group of chemicals formed during the incomplete burning of organic materials found in car exhaust, cigarette smoke, and grilling or burning cooking oil or food. Known carcinogens, we go down here a little bit, right there. Studies linked. So these chemicals, PAHs, found in high amounts in the wrong cooking oil. So is it possible the habit that you're doing in the kitchen to cook is driving this? And begin to look at some of the worst culprits. The highest mean of total PAHs was found in peanut oil. I get that question a lot. Is peanut oil okay, Dr. Livingood? No is the answer. It was found in the lowest in olive oil. Now that is interesting. Squeeze an olive, out comes the oil. Squeeze a peanut, not so much. It takes a lot for a peanut to get to that state, and the type of fat that it is makes it denature quickly. Olive, however, very stable. So there's a study here that broke down multiple different oils, showing the types that were the worst. Rapeseed was the second worst. What is a rapeseed, Dr. Livingood? Never heard it called that. That's your canola oil, the one that's touted to being very healthy. A couple of times a week, there are posts. Dr. Livingood, our coaching groups, is this oil healthy? I see that it is unrefined canola oil. No, the answer is never. Peanut, rapeseed, also known as canola oil. Now, what makes them worse with this habit of cooking is heating it. The more often the oil is heated, the more toxic it becomes. If you have not seen the #1 meal that creates liver and kidney damage, please do yourself a favor and your family and watch that video. We will post it up here. Understanding what the repeatedly heated oils does to your liver and kidneys, the actual tissue under a microscope, shocking. One of our most popular videos, be sure to check that one. Restaurants reuse the oil multiple times. Fryer oil is reheated all day long, often changed every few days, once a week, or even longer. And every time you reheat these toxic oils, you're increasing the toxicity. I worked at the fry station. It was my job freshman year of college, and I would do the batches of fries, onion rings. They were delicious, but I only changed that frying oil every few days. It was the worst job ever to dump it, by the way, and put it in the container, and then you took it into this special dumpster out back of the restaurant, which did not smell good at all. Reheated, reused, recycled is going to cause a lot of damage to the DNA. That's why eating out, even at the healthy spots, still exposes you to this toxic oil. Very few, there's a couple, use an actual form of healthy oils. We're going to talk about those in a moment. So it's not just about what you eat, it's about what is it cooked in. So when you consume these unstable or reheated oils, your liver is paying the price. Your liver is your body's filter. It has to prioritize dealing with the toxins that are coming with the PAHs that we just talked about. Those toxins coming with reheated fats, the congestion that brings and slams against the liver now has to be dealt with. They delay the handling then of other toxins. So when you're consuming congested oils, your congested liver now has to prioritize that over plastics and pesticides and medications, which we all know are one of the #1 causes of liver failure. Tylenol, one of the #1 causes. So these over-the-counter medications or medications in general, several of you taking some type of prescription medication like a cholesterol drug have to regularly have your liver enzymes checked because of the impact it has on them. Well, the more of this bad habit, this bad cooking oil you consume, the more damage the medications and the other toxins you're in contact with, it makes them worse. So the result is liver congestion. That slows down detox. That starts storing fat. And this is what's driving the explosion of the fastest growing condition in the world, which is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It doesn't stop at the liver though. Damaged fat becomes the building material. Fats build the cell membranes of your body. Every cell in your body has a fat layer around it. If you eat toxic fat, that's what your body uses to build those cells. So the effects of a toxic, more rancid, congested, distorted, mutated fat that your body is now forced to use because that's the only raw material it has in order to build those cell membranes means poor nutrient absorption in, inability to flush the toxins out, and then impaired communication between the cells. That is a fast track to brain fog, impaired communication, joint pain, of course, fatiguing the body because you're not getting nutrients in and toxins out, stubborn belly fat for the looks of it, skin issues, and also hormonal chaos because your hormones are created from fat. So you might think it's just from aging, but it's actually cellular dysfunction, and these things are getting accelerated. The main culprit behind all of this is linoleic acid. It is the main fat in these toxic oils. Check this out. Linoleic acid, when it is consumed, this is the thing I wanted to show you the most today. When you eat and you cook with the wrong oil and have the bad habit, or you get exposed to it by fried foods, or it's stuffed in to your crackers and your breads and your grains that you're eating, that linoleic acid then makes up the cell membranes like we just talked, and its half-life, the amount of time that it stays in your body. Look at this study. Linoleic acid is in the body approximately 680 days, 2 years. This means that it takes approximately 6 years to replace 95% of the linoleic acid in your body with healthy fats, making this a primary reason to maintain low linoleic acid intake. These are PubMed researched studies. This is the breakdown of the National Library of Medicine, breaking down linoleic acid and its impact on chronic disease. And the highlighted section says the best time to break this habit is today. And it will take you 5 years to completely clear out. I don't say that to discourage you. However, the half-life of this, 2 years of it being one of the primary sources of fat in your body, the more that you consume it, 2 years of inflammation, liver burden, and poor cell structure. So when you begin your journey and you go on a diet and you start cleaning up healthy oils, I read Dr. Livingood's book, and now I know what oil to use, and I'm cutting out carbohydrates, and I'm eating the proper carbohydrates, and I'm cleaning up my proteins, just know that 30 days in, awesome, good progress. But the benefits of eating the way that I give guidelines to eat, whether you're vegetarian or carnivore, it doesn't matter what diet type you pick, there's guidelines of quality that matter more than all of that. And oils might be at the top of the list. There's a compounding effect that happens when you make this subtle habit change of picking the proper oil. Bottom line, one cooking habit can damage your health for years. So, what are some examples of these unstable oils that you need to steer clear of? Let's go through the master list, okay? The bad oils first, and then we're gonna go through what are some of the healthy alternatives you can use in their place. Toss these out today. Kitchen Raid, Kitchen Pantry. I get a lot of pictures of these. People just chucking. It's the ones in the plastic container oftentimes. Canola oil, also known as rapeseed oil. I don't care if it's unrefined. I don't care if it's cold pressed. It's got to go. It's in a lot of fast foods, it's in a lot of packaged snacks, many processed foods. It's highly refined. It's very high in linoleic acid. It oxidizes under heat, creates toxic compounds. It's a major inflammation driver. Number 2, soybean oil. Found in most restaurants, especially in the fryers. That's probably the most common one. Very high in linoleic acid, creates those free radicals when it's heated. It's also linked directly to insulin resistance and liver damage. Soybean oil is. Corn oil, Found in a lot of packaged foods, processed snacks, often used in fried foods as well. Chemically processed, it easily oxidizes, contributes to fatty liver disease because it's so high in that linoleic acid content. Vegetable oil, toxic blend of multiple oils usually, like canola, soybean, and corn. They blend these together for a perfect congestion concoction. It's typically found in processed foods. Oxidized fats, free radicals are formed, especially when it's heated. This stuff, the vegetable oil, speeds up aging, damages the cells. Safflower oil. Safflower starts to sound a little bit more like it's natural and healthy, but very high. In fact, the highest, I'm going to show you in a minute, the rating of the highest amount of linoleic acid, safflower. It's often marketed as healthy, but it oxidizes and creates inflammation. Cottonseed oil, found in fast food and processed snacks. Heavily refined again, directly linked to heart disease and liver damage itself. Peanut oil, we talked about it, one of the more common ones in frying. It's got a very high smoke point, but it's really high in the linoleic acid, and it's the highest, based on the studies I just showed you, in PAHs, the carcinogens. Not great for frequent use. Sunflower oils, often marketed as healthy, but there are two types. So let me show you the chart here so we can differentiate. Cooking oils, highest in linoleic acid, the most unstable. Safflower, grapeseed, sunflower, top the list. And then there's corn, cotton, soy, rice, peanut, and canola. Now, sunflower comes in two types. There is a high linoleic version that is made up of 68% linoleic acid, sunflower oil. There is also a high oleic acid, which is a much more stable version, which then drops that down into around 10% linoleic acid. So if you're going to use sunflower, it needs to be high oleic or organic sunflower. Sesame's kind of in the middle here. Now, grapeseed can be used occasionally, or sesame, but it's just very unstable. Want to really be careful of it. So sunflower, high oleic. Got to be careful that the borderline ones, sesame, a lot of times used in cooking, especially in Asian-related dishes. Some good flavor, but it does break down under high heat. You got to be careful there. Grape seeds, dressings, some mayonnaise could be a little bit healthier alternative, but when you heat it, it denatures. You got to be careful of that. So what are the good ones? The ones in the green. We've got coconut oil, very low in linoleic acid content, saturated fat, very stable, really good for the brain, really good in bolstering the immune system as well. I like that one because it contains lauric acid, which is good for that. Avocado oil, about 10% linoleic acid, so much lower. High smoke point, this one's really good for frying, grilling, and roasting. Olive, depending on which kind you get, is the lower end of linoleic acid, but can creep up a little bit. This is why you want to be careful not to heat it too hot. It does have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory benefits. Salads, veggies, pastas, this is a good choice. But the next three are the lowest forms when it comes to the linoleic acid content. I should add palm oil, about 10%, would be fairly synonymous to coconut, but coconut's superior. Now, the last three are the lowest in linoleic acid and the most stable. First being butter. Grass-fed butter, we're not taking in the chemicals, very stable. I don't heat butter too hot, but I will cook it like low heat for eggs, for example. Very good. Ghee, clarified butter. If you are more intolerant potentially to butter, you might be able to handle ghee, which is more clarified, less lactose. It is typically completely dairy-free, very vitamin-rich, also very good for cooking. And then we've got tallow and we've got lard. So tallow and lard. Traditional animal fats, very stable, great for frying, great for roasting, nutrient dense, not inflammatory. So there is your breakdown. This chart might very well be the number one most important quality when it comes to your nutrition. Keto, paleo, Atkins, carnivore, Weight Watchers, vegetarian, it doesn't matter to me as long as you do it clean. But a lot of those diets don't teach quality. So you could be on these and be eating terrible oils, congesting yourself. You're maybe losing weight, but at what cost? And are your cell membranes super toxic? And you're taking in carcinogens. So now that you know what these oils are and what they're doing to your body, let's talk about how to take action now. If you have been piling these up in the systems, some quick tips for shopping, cooking, and then even eating out, and then how you can protect your liver, reduce inflammation, and then feel better starting today. Check your oils when you're shopping. Avoid the clear plastic bottles. There's your dead giveaway. Avoid any kind of marketing on the front that says heart healthy or cholesterol free. Those are bought purchases and are completely not true when it comes to the research. Use the right oil for the job. Coconut oil, high heat, frying, baking, sauteing. Avocado oil, high heat, grilling, stir frying. Olive oil, low to medium heat, or have it raw, for example, on a salad. Butter and ghee, high heat, rich with flavor. Try to get grass-fed. And just beware of non-stick sprays. A lot of them are canola oil based. They're usually packed with seed oils. You can find an occasional olive oil one. Just make sure olive oil is the only one in there. My favorite is an avocado oil based one. A little bit harder to find, but they are starting to exist because you can spray that and use it in baking at higher heat. When you're eating out, ask the restaurant, the server, how is it prepared? And just request butter or request olive oil. In today's world of so many different allergens, this is not a weird request. It might be for you because you normally haven't done that before, but I will request, like, can you not cook it in that? Avoid the fried stuff. It's just too risky. It's very rare that it's going to be something that's safe. It's usually cooked in seed oils. You want fried chicken, make it at home. Got to find a good recipe. Nurse Livingood's got one. And then ask for dressing on the side. And then see if they have an olive oil. See if they have a balsamic. That's going to be a little more friendly, less sugars, and you'll skip those bad seed oils. Okay, now that you know how toxic oils are wrecking your liver, the next step is to clean it out, okay? So these oils can stay in your body for up to 600 days. This is the half-life. That's 2 years. But you don't have to wait that long to start recovering now. So in my next video, I walk you through a simple 14-day plan to help your liver break down and clear out those toxic fats. So that way you can reduce inflammation, lose the stubborn belly weight, get the energy back. I'm going to include the link to that video right here. Click, watch that one. That's how you cleanse your liver when it's toxic. In as little as 14 days, you can really start flushing it out. So that video up next to start recovering the liver. There's a link below also for cleansing the liver itself with some supplementation.